Hello and welcome. I'm Jess Kempmans, guided by Equus, and this is your Horse Wisdom Insights for the week of June 27th. Just taking a breath, and this video is coming to you a little bit later this week, just because it's summertime and I needed to take a break. And I could get on here and apologize for that, or I could just recognize that at some point in our life, in our cycles of life, we have to take a break, or we'd be forced to take a break. So this video is coming at you this week, in the midweek, and kind of at the transition of June to July. And I have Dasha here with me. And these three mares behind me is Sadie and her two daughters, Stormy in the middle and Daisy on the outside. And it feels actually significant. I've been standing here trying to understand something for myself that feels very pertinent to this week. And finally I just got the nudge to sit down and do this video and see what else came through, that maybe it's a bigger picture piece of the puzzle for each of us. And then the ability to communicate with these horses through this medium, that it will hopefully help more than just myself in a way that is shared through this audience. And so I guess if the energy of this week is what we've been struggling with, let's say, even though we've had these moments of clarity and potential that we can feel and recognize, and yet there's still this struggle that we're participating in, and yet these three right behind me, it feels very connected and sure, but there's been moments often throughout each day for the last couple weeks where Daisy and Sadie have been challenging each other, and not in a challenge necessarily, more in a defensive, protecting kind of energy. And you can hear them, if I'm on the other side of the yard, I can hear that they are, I'll call it a challenging each other, but in this defensive position where they're each trying to protect their own space, and not even necessarily protect, just defend, I guess. And it actually feels very connected to recognizing my own, I want to say the word tolerance and challenge with this and what they're sharing. But again, I feel this is maybe hopefully going to help you come to recognition in terms with something that is more universal than just myself. And so if I go to the energy of this week, it's like that ability to not even claim our space, but where we feel we have to protect ourselves is actually an invitation to come to terms with something that we've been avoiding, and not avoiding necessarily in a conscious way, but more of this is a pattern that has become habitual to us, and not even necessarily also that it's uncomfortable, but it's just something that we don't even realize is maybe there, that it's just become part of our habits. And so in this space that we're avoiding, which is interesting, it feels like the claiming of a certain space for ourselves, we're avoiding claiming that space and instead trying to protect ourselves through the avoidance of claiming this space. So I don't know if that makes sense, but if I just kind of let it sink for a minute and maybe share a story that might help kind of connect the dots. Sadie is a horse that she was born in 2008, and before I came to this work, she was one of the ones that I really recognized my old habits and patterns and ways of training horses and being with horses and being in relationship with myself. she was sharing and reflecting those spaces. And so as we've continued to evolve in our journey, I've gotten to this point of now her and Daisy are, and again, not challenging each other necessarily, but it's more of a voicing their desire for the need to feel that they have to protect their space or defend their space. And this space feels very connected to, I want to say, our expression, and actually our ability to ground ourselves into that expression, because oftentimes there's a foot that will come flying, or hind hooves that will go up also at the same time. And so in needing to create space, myself moves into that defensive position to make sure that we have that space for ourselves. And if I just take a breath on that for a moment, this week there's an internalizing going on where we are coming to recognize a future without having to be in that defensive zone, and able to actually move forward as, I'm thinking now in hockey where there's like as an offense, right? As you move forward in the world, you're no longer defending, but you're now progressing, I guess, which feels very enlightening. And so it's like this thing that whatever it is that we're defending or protecting is also something that we're really carrying as a weight that's weighing us down. And so as we become cognizant of whatever this is, we're able to see it for what it is, and I want to say let it go, but it's not necessarily that we're letting it go. We're actually utilizing it so that we can become more offensive and more progressive. So that feels really interesting, and I'm excited to see if any of this resonates for you guys. And it feels like there's one more piece to this. That when you find this being triggered in your life this week, or even because June feels like it's a lot of kind of reflective energy, and so even if you can go back over your last week or month and recognize where you notice this happening in your own world, and then notice and pay attention to where in your body that felt sense is being activated, because wherever that is the part of you that's calling to you, or that's inviting you to see through this veil that's kind of been put there, that we've put there to help protect that space, but that we actually don't need anymore, because we don't have to protect it. We just need to utilize it in a way that helps us not only evolve but become more progressive in our life. And so one last piece too is, once you notice where that area is, either somewhere in your energy field or on your body or even in your life, if it's a part of your life that's not necessarily a part of your body, then imagine that you're holding this part of your life in your hands, and you're allowing yourself to just hold it, to give it space for whatever it needs to reveal to you. And that might sound kind of crazy, but if you try it and just notice what happens when you do that, I would love to hear from you. And if it is in connection to a part of your body, which often it is, whether it's our our expression, our heart, our gut, our instinct, our ability to feel grounded and rooted in the world and safe and secure, which I know there's been a lot of that in a number of different people that I've communicated with, including myself, and including these two horses, right? That defensing of our own space. Space is how we relate to time in reference to who we are. So I'll leave all of those pieces with you guys, and I would love to hear what all of this kind of brings up for you and what you connect the dots for yourself in your life this week. And much love from myself and the horses of Guided by Equus, and I can't wait to bring this into July and see where it all goes. So take care till next week.